What's up, everybody? Welcome to another show, Jammin with J Money. We back. Had a few days off, but we know, what I'm saying, they had to get ready for the NBA Finals. Game one today. We definitely gonna break it down, man. Heat versus Lakers. First, I want to make sure you guys go to SBR Picks / NBA to check out all the articles we have and NBA content. We have plenty of articles over there from whatever sport that you like to bet. We have plenty of articles over there as well. And also make sure you line shop on sportsbookreview.com. Make sure you guys are getting the best odds when you're betting, man. Every half point matters. Every half point matters. So make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe as well if you like the content. Jordan, what's up, brother? Everything good with you?
Yeah, ready to get to this game. Padded the bankroll last night a little bit with the Sun +2 first half, so felt good about that on the W side. Ready to get to this action tonight. Very interested to see what you guys have to say about this game, especially Junior with this the Los Heat now being in the NBA Finals. Definitely stoked for it. They seem just a little bit undervalued, so very interested to see what you guys have to say about this one. How about you, JB?
Yeah, you already know I'm riding with Los Heat. Lakers probably win the series, but I think the Heat can cover some spreads out here. So we'll see how it goes. I'm interested to hear what you guys got to say. The last basketball to talk about was the Eastern Conference Finals, where Los Heat took care of the Celtics. It's actually a really good game. All the games in that series, this is a really good series overall, to be honest. But I was really impressed by Bam Adebayo because you don't usually see him explode for over 30 points. So it was good to see him get some of that shine because you know what he can do on defense, but he was able to show us what he can bring to the table on offense. As for this series, I can't wait to break it down with y'all, but just excited to get going. Jay, I was lucky enough to hold Jay down with the NBA pick of the day that hit on that game. Miami +2 in the first half. They ended up winning the first half by 4, winning the whole game. So just interested to hear what Jay and my guy Jordan have to say about this NBA Finals because there's not too much basketball left. So we got to try to take advantage of what we got while we can.
Exactly. Yep. Just to recap that game 6 that happened on Sunday, the Celtics weren't able to push it to a game 7. Obviously, I mean, a lot of people knew that +3.5 for the Heat there was probably the way to go. I didn't make a play on that game, but definitely was leaning towards the Heat. Bam Adebayo went off, man, 32 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, man. I hadn't seen him be productive on the offensive end like that. Obviously, going to need it in this series, but that was a damn good game by him, man. Overall, a game they put in their pocket, man. The Celtics, you know what I'm saying, they took I think 96-90 lead. The Heat never give up, man. This team never backs down. I mean, it's almost like when they lose a little in the fourth quarter, they're a fourth quarter team, man. I mean, this team when it matters most in the clutch, that's when they make their comeback. So you can never count them out. They could be down 15 points, and you never can count them out, especially if Hero Duncan Robinson can get hot. So it was pretty crazy. I was seeing that from Bam Adebayo being the high scorer in the game in a closeout game with 32 points. The Celtics just had to, you know what I'm saying, they didn't have any answer for it, man. Their key guys still got into the double digits. I know we talked about that. Tatum, Browne, Smart, and Walker all had 20 points, but it wasn't enough. Hayward only had 12 points. We talked about Tice from game 5. He'll continue to have that big game. He only had 6 points, 7 rebounds in that game 6. So I really think that was the Celtics. They just they couldn't get it done, man. Their bench, they didn't have enough bench. Jordan, what did you think of game 6?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're exactly right. The Heat just they continue to persist through 4 quarters. They never seem to get like rattled even when the other team goes on a run, and that's been the story of them basically throughout this whole bubble process. And they've been one of the most consistent teams regardless of seeding. I mean, throughout the last 3 months. So I mean, it's definitely not surprising that they covered that 3.5 points. I know there was a lot of people kind of questioning why the books were continuing to hang the Heat as underdog throughout the series. I think it was more so of a respect to the Celtics because, like you said, I mean they played a pretty good game and still lost. I mean, so that's as much credit to them as I think the Heat in this one in Game 6. But I was impressed by Bam. A buddy of mine texted me the day after that game and said he's making a bet on Bam Adebayo to be Finals MVP after that game, just because it was too long of odds for one, and you know if the Heat win this series, it might be a better play just to bet on one of those guys to win the MVP because. I mean, if it's not Jimmy, it absolutely is going to be Bam Adebayo. That dude has turned into a superstar on both ends of the court, it seems like. We already knew going in his defense was he's one of the better defenders at the center position in the entire league. Now his offense is starting to blossom. He's really one of the better pick and roll guys in the league right now. shouts out to him. He was definitely, I think, the most impressive part of Game 6, bar none.
Got you. What you think about your boy Junior, your boy Bam Adebayo, and how the Heat went ahead and closed out the Celtics there in Game 6 on Sunday?
I just think it was really impressive that he was able to step up offensively. We know what he can do on defense, like I've already mentioned, and I just think that there's just another piece of evidence that everything that we keep saying is coming to fruition. The Heat are not a team where you can just focus on one guy. One game it's Tyler Hero, the next game it's Jimmy, it could be Dragic, and now all of a sudden it could be Bam. So this series is going to be interesting. I got on this line as early as possible because I just anticipated that there's gonna have to be some action on the Heat at +5.5. So I got that really early, and I'd love to see, obviously from our point of view, just because we do this every day, it just feels good to get the best part of the line because that definitely does not always happen. And in this case, are you guys surprised that the line has moved so much from what it opened at? Sorry.
Not really. I don't think so. I mean, it's like 5 is just a ton of points for this Heat team right now when it opened. Didn't it open at 5.5 too? So it's gone down a full point.
I got it at 5.5.
Yeah, so it's gone down a full point. Yeah, it's gone down a full point from here. I mean, I think that you were going to expect some sharp action on the Heat in this series. The Lakers are one of those perpetually overvalued teams, regardless of how good they are. They're always going to be a public darling. So not too surprising to see the Sharps pound that line back into where it should be. It wouldn't be surprising to see it go down a little further too today. I could see it closing at 4.
Got you. Yeah, I think it's gonna stick it there at the 4.5. Bovado did go back up to the 5 there. They have a 5 at +115. If you like the Heat, pretty much 4.5 across the board there. I did see that obviously some key people are taking the Heat, but it's still a lot of public bets on the Lakers here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a few books tick it back up to 5. Obviously with a lot of late money, some people just like to only bet the favorite. So I mean, there's a lot of Laker love here in this for this Game 1. There's a lot of Laker love for this series as well, which I mean, I think rightfully so. It's going to be an interesting series. You can't just count the Heat out. Obviously, the Lakers, in theory, have the best 2 players on the court, but when it goes to 3 through 8, I would say that the Heat have the best 3 through 8 players on the court. I mean, obviously, LeBron is up there in age. He's still one of the best overall players in the league. Obviously, Anthony Davis. You got 2 superstars over there, but it's the supporting cast. That's what this is all about. And like I say, the Heat have a better bench, in my opinion, especially when you have Kuzma out there BSing around. He hadn't been the same since Tyler Hero took his girl. I mean, you're going to need Caruso. You're going to need big minutes from him. You're going to need that defense as well. Rondo, you're going to need that playoff Rondo. So you might even have to start him. I'm not sure what the Lakers are going to do, man, to be honest with you. I think they'll win the championship, but I think it's going to take some time. It's gonna be interesting to see this Game 1, man. I'm gonna be watching it like a hawk, Junior. What you think about this Game 1, man? We breaking it down now. Lakers open up at 5.5, like you say, 5.5. So if the Heat, I know it's 5.5 -115 when it opened, down to 4.5 now. It is 1.5 out there. Total open up at 218 here, guys, and then it's now down to 217. And it looks on the total here, Junior, and why you liking the Heat plus the 5.5?
I like the Heat plus the 5.5 for the simple fact that their zone just gives teams trouble when they need to get stops. So, in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure that the facts back it up, the Lakers don't really have any shooters. They got guys that can make shots, but that doesn't mean you got shooters. Dragic can make shots. Jimmy can make shots, but they're certainly not shooters. They got Hero and Duncan Robinson that are taking over 6 threes a game shooting. I think Hero's hitting 38% of his threes. Robinson's hitting 40% of his threes. Even Dragic is hitting almost 37% of his threes, and he's taking almost 7 a game. So the Heat have a ton of shooters, whereas the Lakers only have one guy making a lot of threes. That's Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. He's been shooting the lights out, not just in the last series, but in the playoffs as a whole. But just think about what I'm saying. So you're relying on Kentavious Caldwell-Pope to be the zone buster? Maybe. It's possible, but I gotta have to see it first. I think that they can throw a lot of different looks, and this one small. And listen, I think the Lakers win the game. I think the Lakers probably win the series in 6. I'm just talking about from the perspective of this spread. I just think that he can hang around in any game, and I think they might steal a couple of games. So I'll definitely take the points with them, and I think that's something that we've all discussed on this show. this trend where you see LeBron hold on to the ball for mad long and then get forced to take these ridiculous step back long range shots. I don't think that trend is going to get better against a zone, in my opinion, because it's not like a college type zone. It's an NBA matchup zone where, the closest guy to him is going to be manning him up. And I think there's going to be a lot of situations where they throw guys at LeBron, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, that he's not going to be able to beat off the dribble. He's going to get stuck in situations where he takes long shots. I think LeBron is at a point in his career where he just knows the shots that he can make, so he doesn't really take bad shots. But you can't pretend that there's not a trend where he's holding the ball much longer than usual, taking these. Jay, we've discussed it many times. I think we talked about it with Teddy on Saturday. If we see that trend continue, the Heat have a chance to win at least 2 games, I think, in this series, in my opinion. So I'm definitely.
If that trend continues, the Heat have a damn good chance of winning the series, and I think it'll go 7 games, man. He can't do that. One thing though, I mean, this is NBA. It's all about switching the pick and roll. LeBron's gonna try and get Duncan Robinson or Dragic on him pretty much every play. That's what it's about. So, and that's where the 2-3 zone comes into play, because it's kind of tough to switch off of it or whatever. Or you kind of, I'm saying, the whole picking the 2-3 zone is going to be key here for the Lakers, and I do think it's going to take some time for them to figure it out. Now, obviously, they had a few days to go to game plan for the zone, but I mean, we've seen the Lakers struggle in game ones. They didn't necessarily versus the Nuggets, but this isn't the Nuggets that they're facing, the Heat, and the Heat aren't coming off a game 7 series as well. So, and they got more shooters than the Nuggets do as well, man. LeBron James is not good in this for game ones of the finals, man. I think it's 1-9 straight up and 2-7 ATS in his 9 game one, finals game one. So that's the trend, man. Fade that boy in game 1. I think this is a winnable game for. I think earlier in the series, that's when you have the chance versus the Lakers as it gets on, as they get to, game plan against you, put their foot down. I wouldn't be surprised to see that, but I think that the Heat could possibly take this game 1. What you think about this one, Jordan?
Yeah, I want to touch on the zone versus the Lakers real quick, because I think one thing that the Lakers have going for them against the zone that Boston does not is they have a lot better interior play. And getting into the middle of that zone is going to be the biggest problem. But LeBron and AD seem to be adept at doing it. I'm going to be very interested to see if they can get any sort of penetration and work the ball into the middle of the court a little bit to kind of get that zone to collapse, and then maybe get some of those KCP outside shots to fall. But if not, if they're if they put their big guy like Bam out on the top of that matchup zone, it's going to be very difficult, I think, for them. So I'm very interested in that. And you mentioned it too. The Lakers' game 1 issues cannot be overlooked here. It's one of the reasons why I had the Heat first half here +3 for my official play in this one. They just tend to come out sloppy in the beginning of these playoff series. Now, this is the NBA Finals. You would think that against his old team, a team that he led to multiple championships, LeBron would be ready for this game. But the question is whether or not the rest of his team will be ready to follow him. And other than Rondo, obviously, there's not a whole lot of playoff experience on that roster outside of him and LeBron. So it'd be interesting to see if there's any jitters from the Lakers here coming out early on. It's more of a number play for me, I think, than anything. Like Junior was talking about, it's just too many points. And if you look at the first half, the full game numbers drop now a full point. The first half really hasn't gone anywhere. I think that's mostly a nod to how good the Lakers been in the first half of these playoffs. But I think the Heat have shown that they have the ability to jump out early on teams and continue to, like Junior said, just match up with them. The one thing I'm very also interested in seeing is not only how the Lakers respond to the zone on offense, but on defense. And this is something we've talked about, I think, throughout the bubble process. With the Lakers' perimeter defense kind of where it is now, which is just average at best, how are they going to stop all these Heat guards and wings? Like you can't focus on Jimmy Butler and Bam and then just let all these other guys roam free. It's going to crush you, especially if Dragic has it going or Hero has it going like we've seen in the past, or if Duncan Robinson is making out his open shots. They're going to have a really hard time, I think, defending this wing and guard defense, because there's so many guys that can handle the ball for this Heat team. They're going to have a very hard time queuing in on them. And I think what Jay said something earlier that really stuck with me is that Rondo might have to play a lot more minutes or even start in this one, because other than Danny Green, who's not the defender he used to be, and KCP, who's been fairly good on defense, I guess, in this playoffs, Rondo defensively is really their only shot at slowing down some of these guys, especially Dragic and Hero. I don't think Danny Green's going to be able to be on the court 35, 40 minutes a game guarding one of those guys. So very, very interested to see how the Lakers try to stop the Heat guards in this one's and whether or not they continue to allow some of these open shots that we've seen. But for me, I think that the way the Heat have played, and at least have shown in this past 2 series in the East, I think I'm pretty confident here in them taking 3 points in this first half, especially with the Lakers game 1 woes.
Got you. Yeah, when you mentioned jitters, man, that makes me think about it. So we do know that they got a couple of rookies over there and sophomores as well, Bam Adebayo and Duncan Robinson. Then you got Tyler Hero is, you know what I'm saying, the main rookie over there. But the thing it does kind of scare me a little bit. Obviously, I mean, I'm reading about stuff, the lights being too bright about them. I mean, this isn't the regular finals where they're actually in LA playing, because I really feel like where the rookies really get caught up in the playoffs is where obviously when they go and play on the road. At the house, they kind of feel a little bit more comfortable or whatever, but then on the road, you got guys heckling them in the crowd and stuff, talking mad stuff to them. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot of pressure on them. Here in the bubble, and it's why I really do think that the Heat are here in this situation. It doesn't surprise me. They pretty much thrived here in this situation here, playing in the bubble, no fans. Me and Junior talked about it plenty of times. If the Heat, if this was regular there's no way in hell that they'd probably be in the finals with them having to go and play in the opposing team's arena. But because they're not a good away team, they're a damn good home team. They probably won every home game, but they probably would have lost every road game. We've seen it during the season, like the 76ers. They cannot win on the road. Here in this bubble, it takes out all of this. So it makes me think that the rookies they will be ready to play here. After Hero had the big game, he did kind of slow out, but Caruso versus Hero off the bench is going to be a huge matchup here. Huge matchup. I mean, I have to respect Caruso. He is pretty much missing all his hair. He looked like Benjamin Button or somebody out there, but I have to respect his defense, man. He's a damn good defensive guy. So that's their really only chance, in my opinion. They're going to have to try to put Caruso to match up with Hero off the bench. We know that Hero can get hot from 3. Duncan Robinson get hot from 3. Jay Crowder get hot from 3. You might see some more Miles Leonard here in this series with them having a lot more big. Matter of fact, you're going to have to see Leonard in this series. You'll see it. It's gonna be kind of crazy when you first see him checking the game, but it's gonna have to be him and Bam Adebayo tagging, because I like Crowder, but man, I don't know if I like him at the 4 with this one. I mean, he could probably guard AD for a few positions, but not the whole game. Crowder is, in my eyes, a 3 stretch 4, but I wouldn't like him guarding AD the whole game, but we saw them do something with JaVale McGee as well. Him only come out and play the first 5 or 6 minutes. So this game 1 is really going to be a filling out process for both teams and us bettors as well, Junior. What do you think about that? About maybe Leonard seeing some minutes here?
He might have no choice. The cheerleading days are over. He might have to suit up and get busy out here. But I just think that obviously, if you're just looking for advantages from the Lakers, as we've been talking a lot of Heat, the advantages for the Lakers are their size. They'll probably kill these guys on the glass. So the Heat are going to have to avoid situations where the Lakers are getting tons of offensive rebounds and just getting easy baskets like that. It's going to be interesting to see what pace this game is played at, because the Heat love playing at a slow pace, but the Lakers seem like they can play really at any pace. You know what I'm saying? And in my opinion, a slow pace is not conducive to LeBron playing at his best. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm saying LeBron is incapable of getting to the basket at all. Like, I'm just comparing LeBron to his usual self. Like, I'm comparing LeBron against himself, not LeBron to the other players in the league. If we're talking about compared to other players in the league, of course he's still one of the best at getting to the hole. But I'm just saying he's in this part of his career, he's starting to settle for shots that the old LeBron would never take, because the old LeBron didn't take low percentage shots. He only took shots that, he knew he could make. So, again, as he keeps getting older, that step back is going to become better and better, because he is pretty good at it. I just think that every single time LeBron shoots that shot, not to harp on this subject, just the reason why me and Jay both keep bringing it up is that if every time LeBron takes that shot, to me, that's a win for the defense.
Yeah.
The defense is like, thank you. Please keep doing that, because we don't want you going to the hole. We don't want you going to shooting free throws. We don't want you looking for your teammates, for easy baskets. We want you doing exactly that. So that's why, to me, it's just not a good decision for him to keep doing that. So, like Jay said, if he's on that vibe, the Heat have a chance. But overall, the Lakers are the best team because they have the 2 best players by far. And realistically, the Heat need that zone to work in order to slow those 2 down, because if it doesn't work, then they have absolutely no chance in this series. So from that perspective, forget about as a handicapper or as better. Just from a fan perspective, I'm actually pretty excited to watch this game. I'm going to chill and just watch this game live. I like to watch games after the fact, but this is one of them games that I'm canceling all plans. I'm watching this game live just to see what happens, just to see what the chess match looks like. Because in my opinion, Eric Spoelstra is a much better coach
Oh, hell
than
yeah.
Frank Vogel.
Yeah.
So,
Hell yeah. And I'm taking Pat Riley. Pat Riley, too, as another coach. And so when I'm looking at this shit, I'm like, so you got Spoelstra, who's already a devil coach, who came from the bottom, who worked his way all the way from the video team. And this is something that I've been on ever since he became the Heat coach. Because, I mean, I was a huge Heat fan. I had the backpack and everything. When LeBron went there, I used to be a diehard LeBron fan. I'm talking about ever since he came in the league. I'm getting y'all remember when LeBron had the gum, the Publicious? I'm getting LeBron gum. I had the shoes, man. I wanted to be 23. You know what I'm saying? All that, man. So ever since he came in the league, I've been a huge LeBron fan. It's been tapering off over the past few years. It's because of shit like that with him shooting them shots. I'm sorry, bro. That is terrible basketball, bro. I mean, you have the offensive mind to get the assist. You can drive in the hole every single time, and yet you take that terrible shot, bro. At the end of the shot, that's terrible offense, man. It hurts for me to watch it, but he better not do that shit because I'm leaving him open to shoot that shot all day long, bro. If you make it, I'm living with that. LeBron can have 40, and they can fuck around and lose, man. But that's all enough for my rant for that, man. But yeah, LeBron James, if he does that again, Junior, here tonight, they will lose this game one. They're gonna have to. This is my thing. The Lakers is either they're gonna have to get out in transit. This is how their offense works the best. They get out in transition, getting easy buckets, points in the paint, which the zone can kind of, you know what I'm saying, defer them from doing it. And when they get away from doing what they're good at, they look like an average team, man. That's when we see the Lakers look real average there. So their main thing is moving the ball around and getting easy offenses. They're not doing that. I think that the Heat will pretty much concede to the offensive boards. They don't even want it. Get your ass back down court. It's what they did against the Celtics. Forget about the boards. Go back and get on defense and make them work in the half court. And I know you say, Junior, that the Lakers can pretty much work whatever pace, but that pace is a little bit more. It's harder for them to do it in half court because that's when we see LeBron start to, you know what I'm saying, hold the ball too long. But when they're moving real quick, he can make the right pass or whatever. But if the Heat run down and get their defense set up, I think it's going to be tough for the Lakers here. And then I think maybe game two, we'll see the Lakers try to run a lot faster pace, man. But here in this game one, we know it's going to be a filling out process, man. We've seen that. I mean, we had the numbers to back that up as well, man. So Lakers 1-5 as well last 6 Wednesday games. So it's just a little crazy stat there. But like I say, their game ones, I think they're 1-3 ATS in their game ones so far. I mean, 1-2 ATS in their game ones and straight up. So I mean, they most of the time they lost the first one to the Rockets, and they lost who else? They lost the first one to the Blazers as well, man. So and then they went and stumped on their Nuggets. I'm sure LeBron knows that he lost the past few games once. But what I always like about taking a dog, and especially with this one, Jordan mentioned this. I think the spread is a little bit too high, man. I think that they're getting Heat a little bit too much disrespect, in my opinion. I think the fair line here is 3.5. I mean, if it's sitting at 4.5, 5, I'd have to look towards the Heat here, especially in game one, where the Lakers don't really already know, you know what I'm saying, what they're gonna do or have film. What you got on this one, my guy? Jordan, anything to counter what I just said, my guy? What you think about the total as well, the pace?
Yeah, I would touch on all that. One thing I wanted to say is that something you mentioned is about getting the Heat getting back on defense. The Lakers have been one of the most successful teams so far in the playoffs. Not only points in the paint, but points off turnovers. The Heat don't turn the ball over that much. I think they had the best, definitely the best turnover percentage outside of the Raptors in the Eastern Conference in the playoffs so far. I mean, the forcing the turnovers thing is one of the things the Lakers do, and then they like to get out and run, obviously put pressure on you. I don't know if they're going to be as successful at doing that. And one other thing I wanted to mention is I think I want to get your thoughts on real quick before I give you my take on the total. Is if the Heat come out in that zone defense, how does Vogel keep Dwight Howard or JaVale McGee on the court and not forced to go small? Because if I'm Spoelstra, I'm immediately going to that and going to force one of those bigs who isn't stretching the floor off the court, force the Lakers to go small, and then immediately you've evened up the rebounding disadvantage that you're faced against. That would be the first thing. I'm kind of interested to see how much you guys think those big guys are going to play, because with how mobile Bam is, Dwight's going to be able to guard him a little bit, but they're going to have to put AD on him, I think, for the most of the game, especially down the stretch. I don't see the Lakers being able to play that big lineup as much as they got away with in the Western Conference playoffs. And as far as the total goes, if that's the case, I think the over actually has a little bit, not a lot, but a little bit of value, because if the Lakers are playing fast like they like to, and are going a little bit smaller than they're used to, especially against what they did against the Nuggets, who are a bigger team. I could see the pace picking up a little bit in this one, but Junior mentioned it. The Heat are going to try to dictate everything here, and they're going to make the Lakers work on defense as much as possible. That means they're definitely not going to want to play fast. So it's going to be very, very conflicting styles. It's going to be very interesting to see who grabs the pace war and who wins that early on in this ball game, because things will definitely slow down in the second half. That's why I think I kind of like another one of the reasons why I think the Heat here are pretty good first half play, simply because if the Lakers doing all those things, they just don't have that advantage of turning the Heat over like they did against some of these other Western Conference teams who play a little faster. If they're not getting, it's just simple math. If the Heat aren't having as many possessions and aren't letting the Lakers have as many possessions, they're not going to turn the ball over as much. The Lakers aren't going to get out on the fast break as much. So if they can counter those points in the paint with what I was talking about earlier, I'd be very interested to see the over in this one if it cashes. I think 217. I think it's what it's at right now. 217 in the hook. Not a bad line, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this go up to 220. So if I had to make a play on the total, I think it would be on the over here in this game one. I think we kind of see maybe a little more offense, a little more feeling out of this one in game one. Defense could tighten up later in the series, but I'm interested to see what you guys have to think about that matchup issue. Do you guys think the Lakers are going to be able to go big in this series as much as they did against the Nuggets, or do you think that the Heat lineups and the matchups and maybe in that zone is going to force them to go smaller?
Junior.
Do I think that the Heat are going to go smaller?
No, the Lakers. Or do you think the Heat are going to force the Lakers to go smaller with the zone?
Here's the thing. I think that the Lakers don't have a choice but to play at least Dwight Howard in the sense that, so let's just say they go small. I got to look at the Lakers lineup real quick. So what's their small ball lineup is AD at the 5, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, we know AD always complains that he doesn't want to play the 5. So it would be a small ball lineup where you don't have as much of an inside presence for the offensive rebounding. We've seen AD have a couple of games where he had less than 5 rebounds, let alone less than 10 rebounds. I don't really think that that's the way the Lakers would want to go. If I could trust AD on the boards more, which sounds like a ridiculous thing to say considering the type of player that he is, like, it doesn't even make sense that that's something that I even have to say. If I could trust him more on the boards, then I would say that the Lakers could pull that off. But he's kind of proven that he's not really ready to get dirty and do the dirty work and get, you know what I'm saying, the job done for his team in that part of the game. So if AD comes, when AD's upset, when he plays like he's angry and he does the screaming and the, acts like he's,
Man.
He's being aggressive, like he plays like he's bad. I'm not saying he's not doing that, like he's faking it, but I'm just saying that's not his natural nature. He's more of like a laid back, relaxed guy. But when he seems like he's fired up, nobody's stopping him from doing nothing. He's going to grab 15 rebounds. He's going to score 30 points, but he just doesn't always play like that. So I don't really know if him at the 5 is what they want. I still think that Dwight's going to have to get minutes, only because Dwight hasn't done anything to say that you should take away his minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the sense like how Kelly Olynyk, we've mentioned him in the series, but where the hell has Kelly Olynyk been? What has he done that makes us think that he's going to have any kind of impact on this series at all? You know what I'm saying? Whereas Dwight's kind of shown you that he can still roll to the rim and catch a lob. He can still grab a couple offensive rebounds. He can still block a couple shots. So I can't even believe that I'm talking positively about this goofy-ass dude, Dwight Howard. But the truth of the matter is he's playing pretty well. So
they're going to need him, too.
Yeah, I wouldn't really take away his minutes. I don't like him. But if a player's playing well, you got to play him. It's only logical. So I guess to answer your question in a very long-winded manner, I don't think the Lakers should go small. I think they should just do what they do. And if it doesn't work, then you're going to be forced to go small. But I don't think countering with small is the way they should go. They should stick with their advantage with size. And I really think that, like Jay Money said, the Heat are not even going to try and waste their time battling these guys on the glass in that sense. They're going to just be worried about stopping transition opportunities and setting up their zone to make the Lakers work on offense.
And in my opinion, that's how you beat them, man. That's how if you stop to the Lakers are the best, one of the best transition teams in the league. If you stop them from getting out and getting easy buckets and scoring 120 points against you, and you force it to, you know what I'm saying, knock it out, a haymaker type game where it's like in the low hundreds. I think that bodes well for the Heat, man. Lakers are a little bit, even though they can lock down defensively, I view them more as a team that wants to go out there and outscore you as opposed to the Heat as a team that with this shit could be 90-something, 90-something. We don't care. We want to, you know what I'm saying, have it a slugfest. And that's why I say them running back to the other course, strengthening their defense, getting their defense set up. It might bode well for them here earlier in the season. I mean, a few matchup problems we have to talk about here just for the starting five, because we know it's crazy. Versus the Celtics, I really feel like the Celtics had the better starter five than the Heat, just from like 1 through 4 or whatever, with Kemba, Browne, Tatum, you know what I'm saying? But now here with the Lakers, it's just LeBron and AD. And in my opinion, I don't know, just to answer your question real quick about Dwight Howard, I don't know where he fits here, in my opinion, because other than a lob, I'm fouling Howard ass every time. I'm telling you that right now. I'm holding him. But other than that, if he's not getting an alley-oop, why is he out there, bro? Why? I mean, yeah, for defense and boards, but I don't. It's gonna be real interesting, man, because it's really a contrast of two different types of teams. The Lakers, their main offense is gonna run through LeBron and AD, man. So if one of them are having an off night, they will get. I mean, they're not only gonna lose, they're gonna lose by double digits, man. I really do think so. And the Heat got like 4 different players. They could throw at LeBron. I mean, if Bam gets switched on him, I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not uncomfortable with that. Crowder, he's had enough, a lot of history defending LeBron James. You got another guy, that Crowder versus Iguodala trade, right? I mean, they're really cemented their way into the you know what I'm saying, Eastern Conference Finals, at least in my opinion. Those two pickups right there were huge, and now you need them. I mean, you got Iguodala, who's been to the last, I think, 6 finals, man. You talk about championship experience. You need that when you have Hero and Duncan Robinson and Bam Adebayo out there. So it's nice and even out there. But Dragic, he has plenty of experience as well. Yeah. He's a matchup nightmare for them boys out there. I mean, and just to go back on my last point, you can have Butler guard James Will. So that's 3 out of the 5 starters that you feel very comfortable with guarding LeBron James. And then you have a couple coming off the bench as well, in Iguodala and possibly Solomon Hill. We know Derrick Jones Jr., he gets out there only for defense. You throw him out there for a couple of fouls. When you're going up against LeBron James, you always got to look at some LeBron stoppers. He have some. The Lakers don't have enough shooters, in my opinion. Kyle Kuzma. One thing I want to ask you guys: where the hell is he been? I know Hero took his girl, man, but they need Kuzma to be huge off the bench, man. He can't be coming out there having 4 or 6 points, in my opinion, if the Lakers are going to win this series. So that's the last thing I got about this one. I do like the Heat as well in Game 1. Hadn't bet yet, but I like the Heat in Game 1, man. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see them win this game. Jordan, any close? And I lean the under as well. I think this one's going to be played at the Heat's pace. Then maybe the Lakers throwing the series. Lakers going to have to. They see that they're going to have to run and gun. I like Heat. Lean towards the under there. Jordan, any closing thoughts, my guy, on this game?
Yeah, I got official play on this one. Miami +3 in the first half. I like that a little bit better than the full game line. And just in the playoffs of all basketball this summer, it seems like first half's been working out for me better than full game spread. So I'm going to stick with it, trust the process. Also, you mentioned something I didn't mention earlier, which I'm glad you did. Goran Dragic is absolutely going to give the Lakers fits tonight. If there is one prop bet that the over, if you like Miami and you think that you're going to either same game parlay that with one of the props or something like that, Dragic points over tonight might be the way to go, because I just don't know who stops him. Like there's going to be a lot of Goran Dragic getting penetration in this game, and whether or not he's getting points from it or he's dishing for assists, one of those two things is going to happen tonight.
Got you. I hope. Hey, we'll see, man, because I think it's a matchup problem for him. So we'll see and who's going to defend him as well on the. This is a series where LeBron can't expend too much energy on defense, in my opinion, because they're going to need him on the offensive end. Junior, what you think about that in this game, my guy?
Do you say Rondo?
No, I said LeBron.
Oh, I was like Rondo. Yeah, I mean, there's so many interesting parts of this series. That's why I can't wait to watch this game. Like I said, I agree with a lot of the things that you guys are saying, especially the fact that the Heat have several different people that they could throw at LeBron. And let's just be clear, nobody could stop LeBron James. So it's not about stopping him. It's just about making him work. And I think the Heat have a couple different guys that they can make him work. The Heat also have a couple of guards, and Goran Dragic and Tyler Hero, that I think are going to give them problems, to be honest with you. Goran Dragic, at this point, he's averaging 20 points a game in the finals, and he's shooting a high percentage. He's making plays. He's a veteran. He's seen it all. He's been all NBA in his career. He's been an all-star in his career. I think people kind of just, I don't even know if I can't say he's underrated, but I feel like he's a little bit underrated. And I think that that's something that the Lakers should definitely be concerned about, because who on their team can we say can shut him down? The Celtics have great defenders on their team, and they couldn't shut him down. So I don't see why the Lakers are going to be able to handle him without at least giving him some type of respect. So you've got him. If Hero shows up, that's another issue. And let's be realistic. I'm kind of interested to see, is Jimmy Butler going to do what he's done the whole playoffs and really the whole season, is just be a team guy and just fit in? Or is he going to try to be more of a superstar in this series? And I'm going to be honest with you. I think he plays his role perfect for this team, in the sense that in the fourth quarter, he really just tries to, assert himself and make plays. But he doesn't have a problem with another guy. If another guy is hot, he'll defer to the other guy. And I think that's I actually gained a lot of more respect for Jimmy Butler during this season, because I'm going to be honest with you. When Jimmy Butler was in Minnesota and he did that whole thing where he set up the interview with Rachel Nichols and he was calling out Cat and Wiggins, I was kind of like, what kind of teammate is this guy? Like,
I didn't like that either.
Yeah, I was like, this guy's whack. You know what I'm saying? But it makes more sense now. He's just the type of guy that doesn't like soft players, and he's not going to hold his tongue. You know what I'm saying? Because he went to Philly and he was like, these guys don't know what they're doing in Philly, so I'm out. You know what I mean? And and they say he spoke to Pat Riley, aka the Godfather, and that was enough. So now he's in Miami doing what he does. But I just think that if he decides to be a bit more aggressive, that could be kind of interesting, because I think he has ability to, and he's smart enough to know, okay, you know what? I'm trying to be aggressive, but it's not working. Let me defer to my other guys like I do anyway. But in the fourth quarter, make no mistake, he's going to have to step up for this team to have any kind of chance to win the series. But I love this series. I think it at least goes at least 6, possibly 7.
Got you. And hey, I think the Lakers will win this series, man. I think they'll have some help as well. Maybe not here in the game 1, but as the series goes on, you'll start to see some shit. So you'll see. We'll talk about it. We'll definitely be back on Friday with another show here in game 1. It sounds like we all aligned here. I'd like to Heat in game 1 as well, man. I'm on them as well, man. So it sounds like we all aligned here. Hopefully we don't come back on Friday all pissed. It's a damn good matchup for the Lakers, man. I think the Lakers win the series, but we saw them struggle in game 1. And even if they do win the game, they have to win it by margin. They have to win by 5 to 6 points. So I'm hoping for a close one, maybe possibly even a Heat win. That way we could, have some value come back on the Lakers here and possibly game 2, game 3. Y'all know what we're trying to do. We're trying to get some cash, man, pretty much every day, win, lose, or draw. We will be back on Friday. Whenever there's an NBA game, we will be on for you guys, man. So we appreciate everybody for tuning in. Hit the like button if you guys like the content, and subscribe as well, man. Go to SBRpicks.com/NBA to check out all articles and content that we have over there. We appreciate you guys for tuning in for Jammin with J Money. Good luck, brothers.